All right, thanks everyone for jumping on. Injury-wise, came out of last night in great shape. Everybody should be good to go this week that played last night in the game. Going back and looking at it, our offensive players of the game were Lenoris Jones, Rocket Sanders, and Josh Simon. Told our guys that individuals had to make individual plays in this game, and those guys absolutely did. Defensively, T.J. Sanders, Dylan Stewart, and O'Donnell Fortune were our players of the game. Special teams-wise was Alex Herrera. Kudos to him coming in there and hitting some big kicks for us as well. Scout team on offense, amazing Little John. Scout team on defense, Jackson Berger. And scout team on special teams, Aaron Morton as well. And then our Gamecock MVP was our strength and conditioning staff as well. Going back looking at the game, obviously a lot to get better at, but just a awesome performance by our guys. Really proud of the response our players had when we get off to a great start. It's 14-0, and then we get outscored 20-3 after that. And now they come back, they take the lead, they have momentum. The 2-minute drive before the half was huge to be able to go down there and get 3 points and tie it up. So we responded after they took the momentum back. I think a weak-minded team in that situation would let it get away from them maybe, and our guys didn't. Never worried about the scoreboard, just continued to fight and got it back to 20-20, and then came out in the fourth quarter or second half and did what we did in the second half as well. But, love the situational football that we played last night. We just played winning football, situational football, 2-minute at the end of the half, what we call 4-minute, which is when you're trying to run out the clock, and what we were able to do last night when it was 30-20 and you're in 4-minute mode. We thought our coaches had a great plan for that. And then just playing smart football, not having a ton of penalties, and just doing the things that you have to do to win football games. And like I said, when you play Texas A&M, you have to do those things because they don't beat themselves. So in here today, learn from this one, continue to get better, and got a big challenge this week up in Nashville. Questions?
Hey, Shane, it's Jack. Wanted to ask you about the offensive line. I know you talked about it a little bit last night, but now after watching the tape, guys give up 0 sacks, and seemed like the blocking was really, really good to allow you guys to run the football effectively. What did you make of their performance, and just what do you feel like worked so well for those guys?
I just thought they did a great job of communicating. I thought they played with great emotion, and I thought they played with great energy and intent. And it showed. And we played really physical last night. I knew it watching it live, but watching it back today, we played really, really, really physical in all 3 phases. And that goes a long way, without a doubt. Thought they were really good in the run game. We ran for a lot of yards, 286, and not trying to be arrogant by saying this, we left a lot of yards out there. We had couple of runs on a particular scheme specifically that we did not block the right way on 3 different occasions, and we just blocked the right people on the right play. We got a chance for some really productive runs for sure. Pass pro-wise, they did a really good job against a really talented defensive line, as you guys heard me talk about. Now, we turned some guys free and had some missed pickups on some pressures that was disappointing, because some of the pressures they brought that they got back in the backfield on were just basic things that we should not have had a trouble picking up, but just couple guys not being on the same page. But overall, I thought those guys did a really good job and controlled the line of scrimmage. We were the more physical team, and you have to be when you play Texas A&M.
Hey, Shane, Jordan. Go for it.
Okay, thanks, Jordan. Shane, the play that Mazio got hit on when he had to leave, did y'all look for any kind of an explanation there from the refs on the tackle and kind of what happened with the defender there, or did you think it was called appropriately?
On the coach's copy, I think on the coach's copy. I think it doesn't look good. Didn't think it looked good on the field. And, I told the official out there on the field that I thought it was something, targeting, a face mask. I think you got a couple options that would be on the table right there. They didn't feel like it was as well. Looking at the tape here this morning, I think, certainly I feel like something could have potentially have been called, but it is what it is.
And with how things had to play out with you guys needing to use the timeout because they subbed, how do you feel like you guys were able to respond when things didn't go kind of according to plan? I guess to your point about being able to get the field goal there, but with that little added, wrinkle to that part of the operation.
Yeah. Hale, there you go, Hale. Thank you, my man. That made it a little bit more challenging, when you have a injury timeout in a situation like that, or when you have an injury in a situation like that, you subject yourself to a 10-second runoff, so obviously Mazio's safety and health is more important than anything. But I knew if he, went down, we were opening ourselves up to a potential 10-second runoff. So when I saw him slow getting up, I was already thinking that we may have to call a timeout here to avoid a 10-second runoff. And then I wasn't really sure. I wasn't sure if he was going down. I wasn't sure if they were calling a penalty for targeting, trying to figure it out. But obviously we used the timeout. And then, at that point, it kind of limits what you can do at that point. So we're in a situation, I think, I can't remember the time exactly, maybe just under 20 seconds, I believe, at that point. So you're in a situation where, you're trying to throw a ball and get out of bounds. Or if it's inbounds, I think it was second down, so you got to be ready to clock it. So there's a lot of different scenarios that are going through your head at that point as well when you had to use that timeout. But when it was all said and done, I think there was 8 seconds left on the clock, and I thought about just trying to take one shot at the end zone. Obviously, the receivers were in my ear and wanted to, but I just felt like at that point we couldn't risk not getting points in that situation, kick the field goal, and get points. So ended up working out fine. And then that was a big kick by Alex coming in that situation.
Hey Shane, it's Jordan. You mentioned the strength staff as the Gamecock MVP this week. When you're talking about the physicality and stuff that you guys showed on Saturday, is that the reason why, or is there something else?
No, I would say it's definitely that. I should have given them a game ball in the locker room last night. I told them I choked and forgot to, because I had it written down to recognize those guys, and I forgot. But it's, we were the more physical team last night, and I say that with all respect towards A&M. One of the mantras around here of how we win football games is to dominate the fourth quarter, and we did that last night. And I know, there was A&M did that last week against LSU. I mean, they were vocal about it all week, and they should have been, that the way they took over in the second half and wore LSU down in a lot of ways. They did. And I know there was a national article this week that a national writer wrote, about Texas A&M strength coach, and he's one of the best in the country and has been around for a long time. So I certainly, maybe was in Luke Day and our strength coach's ears all week about how good a A&M strength coach is coming in here, and hopefully we can match up. So we were motivating the strength staff this week, and they were challenged, and our players certainly responded last night and played with great physicality, great effort. We didn't have, anybody with, like I said, injury issues. We just played physical and dominated that game in the fourth quarter. And when you do that, that goes back to the identity of your team, and it all starts down there in the weight room.
Hey, Shane, it's John. If I could follow up on that a little bit on the strength staff. I know each off season y'all go through and evaluate everything and make necessary changes as appropriate. Now that you're kind of deeper into the season now, can you reflect a little bit on maybe some of the things that were done differently in there to keep guys a little bit healthier and also continue to enhance the strength and physicality over the course of the season, and being able to go 60 minutes like that.
Yeah. I'm not naive and not like completely oblivious to chatter. I think there were a lot of people that wanted me to fire the entire strength and conditioning staff last year, and they wanted me to fire Clayton White. And I'd say I made the right decision not making those decisions that a lot of people thought I should have, which was never even in consideration in my mind. One word that we use around here, or one expression that we use around here, John, and it really comes from Luke and those guys in the weight room, is course correct. And, if we're on course, but then we get off course, we try and do a great job of getting back on course. And I wouldn't say there was a ton of changes. If you asked our players, is the weight room a lot different this year compared to last year, they would probably say no. But we did make some changes. I think our guys, Luke, and in our program, one thing that we talked about, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't great last year. We had way too many injuries, and that starts with me as the head coach. But obviously you have to look at the weight room, and we knew that we had to change some things with how we train. I think, we're a little bit different in the way that we do things down there. We have been since I got here. So I believe that one thing I talked to Luke about, and they did a great job of this off season, was doing a better job of just explaining to our players the why of why we do things. Here's why we do this particular lift. Hey, here's the work. Here's the plan today. They started every weight workout with basically a meeting in the indoor, and Luke went over, hey, here's what we're doing today. Here's why we're doing it. Here's how it's going to help you, all that stuff. And I think there was just, more communication from that standpoint. We tweaked some of the lifts we did, maybe a little bit less of some certain things, but just tried to really, get stronger, get mentally tough like every team in America does, but also make sure that we're doing the best thing to, we want it to be hard and rugged, but we also want to make sure that we're preparing ourselves for a 12-game season in this conference as well. And thought we did a really good job of that. And when you got the right people in position, which I felt like we did after last season at most positions, then it's my job to continue to empower them and help them to be successful and tweak. And every year is different to adjust. And we did that last year for sure.
Hey, Shane, it's Ben. I had a question about Lenoris. It seemed like early in the year when things kind of broke down and he kind of got on the run, he was often kind of maybe straining, looking for a big play downfield. And yesterday, it seemed like in those situations, he was maybe finding shorter guys a little bit more, finding Rocket, just kind of letting him make plays, maybe a little more patient. Is that something you guys talk to him about? And what kind of an evolution is that potentially for a quarterback?
Yeah, I think for him, it's more, of just understanding the progression of the play. We've got this play called and with these routes, and here's where you're looking first, here's where you're looking second, here's where you're looking third, and just being patient back there and being willing to go through his progressions. And one thing that you do coach him up on is on a lot of those plays is don't forget the back. And meaning, you got plays downfield. We wanted to take some shots downfield and throw the ball downfield last night, and we did. We tried to on the very first play of the game. But also, too, we're going to take shots downfield. If they cover those shots downfield, then, more often than not, your back is sitting down there as a check down or tight end that you could dump the ball down to. And Lenoris did a great job of doing that. And then one thing, Ben, that I should have said this last night, but one thing that we worked on a lot during the off week was just the scramble drill. And, let's be real, he's been under pressure some this year where he's had to scramble. And when the quarterback does that, it's not just people just running around blindly wherever they want to go. We have a structure like all teams do of, okay, if the quarterback scrambles, here's what you do as a receiver or tight end. If you're in this position, here's where you go. If you're here, here's where you go. And making sure that we were really doing a better job of coaching that up. So when Lenoris did scramble, our guys knew where to go. And he did a good job of finding people last night. There's no doubt about it. Hey,
Shane, it's Jordan again. You mentioned it last night, and it it holds up. That, I think there were us and fans critical about the penalties and the sacks, and those things went away against Texas A&M. Was there anything you saw as to that reason, or was it finally just everything you'd been preaching came together on a night?
It certainly came together. I don't think we really, I know we haven't really done anything different, Jordan. I mean, we always emphasize playing smart football and not having penalties. And we went through a stretch there at the beginning of the season where we did. We just do the same things we always do, try and emphasize it in practice, hold guys accountable, teach it in meetings, and whatnot. But I think it just goes back to us talking about making sure our guys making sure we were emphasizing, which I didn't need to, but just making sure our guys understood, I should say, some of the lack of success, losses that we had early in the season. We didn't do enough of playing winning football, and that's all three phases, and penalties are a part of it. And understanding that in this league, it's a fine line, man, between winning and losing. There's a small margin of error, and you better be on the right side of have more winning plays than the other team does. And I wish I had a better answer for you, but I think it's just coming together and just continuing to do what we do and stay the course.
Shane, how's the reaction been from all the recruits you guys had in this weekend?
Yeah, it was awesome. We had 7 official visits in, so they've been around all day today, and we just wrapped that up a little bit ago. The feedback was awesome. I asked most of them in my office what was the best part of the weekend, and pretty much every one of them said the game, but more specifically the fans and the environment and the atmosphere at the game as well. And then a lot of guys that were here on unofficial visits that they obviously had an amazing time and were a part of that awesome field storming and celebration last night. And then a lot of guys that weren't here last night that watched on television and have been texting me today, telling me how much they wish they had been here. So it's like I told our players earlier today, I mean, what an opportunity last night was going into the game with the build-up, top 10 team at night, Williams-Brice Stadium, ABC, national television, sold out, all these recruits coming on and on and on and on and on. And we answered the call from an opportunity standpoint. So we couldn't have gone any better overall from the football part of it and then the recruiting part of it also.
Hey, Shane, it's Ben again. I noticed on a couple of plays you moved Michael Smith kind of into the backfield on some of those pistol looks. Obviously, he's pretty talented as a receiver, but what does he kind of give you in sort of being able to line him up there and different stuff you can do?
Yeah, we want to move him around like all of our tight ends. We move Josh around, we move Birdie around, we move Mike Smith around, but he was in there a lot last night with Josh, where Josh is one tight end and Mike's the other. And he's able to do different things, whether it be first play of the game. I think he was in the backfield and in protection. I know he was, and he was matched up out there on the defensive end, one-on-one in pass protection. You're asking about the motion plays where we came in there and ran the power a couple times and didn't block it great. Those are one of the runs I was talking about we should have gotten more yards out of. But he's just a really talented young guy, very athletic, can run and just continues to get better.
Hey, Shane, only 4 wide receivers last night. Just curious the thought process behind that. And Vendrevis Jacobs has played a ton this year. Didn't see him last night. Just wanted to check on him. Yeah,
Dre was he was able to play, John. He wasn't, I would say, 100%. He was good to go, but after going through pregame, he just didn't feel great. So Coach Furry said, all right, well, we're going to start the game, and then we're going to see how you feel as we get into it. And he just didn't feel like he was quite 100%. So we didn't put him in there last night, but we need him and need him to be 100% and back out on the field. And then as far as the 4 guys playing, we were utilizing our receivers a lot in the run game last night. I know you guys will go back and watch the tape if you haven't already, but thought Nick Harbor played really physical. I mean, he was awesome at the point of attack. We had him in there blocking defensive ends, blocking linebackers, and he got in there and played physical. So really proud of him. And that's kind of why just some of the stuff we were doing in the run game, and it was those four last night. And I'd also say practice matters. You got to practice well, and if you practice well, you're going to play. And if you don't, then it's going to be hard to put you in the game.
We obviously know Kai can drop kick, but what was the thought process of doing it on a kickoff?
You guys obviously saw what he did at Alabama on that onside kick, and he's a very talented guy. So if I'm Texas A&M and I see that guy come in there to kick off, there's a lot of antennas that go up, and there's a lot of different things that we can do with Kai because he's very talented. So that's just continuing to open up the whatever the word is, open up the realms of possibilities that we can do with Kai in the game and giving teams stuff to prepare for. I'll see you guys Tuesday. We're off to practice.